I just had a conversation with Matt Carroll. He's a senior advisor to Olympus Sports and Entertainment. This is the area of Clermont where Wellness Way is, and the health and wellness hub that's going to be creating a lot more entertainment and jobs in that area. It was a fascinating conversation hearing their overall vision of the area and how things are finally moving forward. Stay tuned. Matt, thanks for joining us, man.
Happy to be here. No, thanks for having me, Ken. It's awesome.
For sure, man. So for those that don't know, you guys are building out something really exciting on the west side of town. So the Clermont area, it's this place next to or in Wellness Way called Olympus Project. Unpack, what specifically is that?
Wow, it's a lot to unpack. No, so Olympus is a roughly 250 acre master plan community. And it's really the spearhead for Wellness Way, as you mentioned, in that Clermont area where it's booming out there. But Olympus is a master plan community that's centered around health and wellness, right? So really focused on the experience of having a community that is driven by, health and is driven by having, sports at its forefront, having just that overall community of health and wellness, really at its core. And I mean, true health and wellness, human performance, just really the best of all that we are consuming in social media or on social media nowadays, consuming on the internet, seeing all these celebrities and athletes participating in, that lifestyle, and really trying to bring that to Olympus and to Clermont.
That's exciting.
So it's really a vision and an idea more than just homes next to something else, right?
Well, you say vision and an idea, but this thing is actually, that's what a lot of people bought into when they bought into Wellness Way, was that this Olympics project's coming along. And so I know we talked a little bit maybe a couple of weeks ago about this, but it's actually moving forward. This isn't just an idea that maybe one day happens. This is something that you guys are executing on right now.
Totally. Yeah. I mean, we closed on $22 million of infrastructure this past December. And that's completing all of phase 2, which is the entire south side of our project. So that includes 315 single-family residential homes and townhomes. And that completion time is about 12 months or so for the infrastructure. And then you can expect vertical immediately following the completion of that infrastructure.
Man, that's exciting. And so for those of you, like the whole wellness, it sounds a little airy-fairy where a lot of people are like, health and wellness, that kind of thing. So break down, what are some of the major rocks that are going to actually be there for people so they can kind of conceptually understand it?
Sure. No, that's a great question. I think living in Olympus, you can expect to see amenities that include, walking paths everywhere, encouraging movement, encouraging everyday exercise, encouraging, that type of lifestyle, walking to the grocery store, almost a very European sort of vibe to it, giving that kind of feel of, you don't have to leave, right?
Yeah.
Once you're there, you have all the amenities that you need at your fingertips, and you can access them, and they're kind of working for you. And I know we're going to talk about it here, but having a human performance institute on the property in a new brand that we are launching, which is very exciting. It's kind of my personal touch on the project that I've been working at for a while now, and it's been a blast to work on. But to give people a way to access true human performance and really unleash their full potential, as a human being, not just as an elite athlete or a celebrity. Like, I think that's really now what the only people that can access that type of training.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So
celebrities and people that are willing to drop hundreds of thousands of dollars. Or what's that dude on, is it Brian Johnson? He spends like $2 million a year.
He's trying to live forever.
He's trying to live, don't die.
He's trying to live forever.
Which is kind of cool.
It's insane. I mean, it's, okay. I mean, I'm into health and wellness myself personally, right? So it's a passion of mine. I used to play sport for a living, and so it's kind of in me. I mean, I wear an Oura ring. I do stuff to track my data.
Got the Whoop. I'm obsessed with it.
Yeah. No, that's all great. I mean, any of that stuff is better than not. But he's on another level.
This episode of the Orlando Real Podcast is brought to you by my real estate team, the Posit Group. Check us out over on Google. We've got over 1,600 five-star reviews. We're here to help whether you're looking to buy, sell, or invest in the Central Florida area. Reach out at theorlandoreal.com/real. But for, again, so walking trails, so many developers say that, but there's more than that, right? There's the sports, there's a lot of other things that you guys are adding to this district. So unpack that a little bit more before we dive into the health and wellness stuff.
Yeah, totally. I mean, I think really the best way to start with that is the sports campus and using that as the driver for a lot of what goes on the property, right? Mm-hmm. So sports campus, we're looking at roughly 50-ish acres of competition-ready venues for various sports, right? So we've got best-in-class operators to come in and run their operations out of Olympus. So tennis, for example, we plan on featuring an all red clay court facility. So red clay is pretty rare in the U.S. It's what they play the French Open on.
Yep.
We plan to source the bricks for the clay from the same quarry where they get the bricks for Roland Garros for the French Open. So bringing that insane experience to Olympus and to Orlando is something that we take a lot of pride in, number one, but that's something that we're doing for tennis, and that's something that we'll plan to do throughout the rest of the sports campuses. Hey, how can we partner with the right folks and get the most amazing sort of value added to this sports campus, so that we're not just building tennis courts.
Yeah.
Right. We're building a whole experience.
So, and the idea of like a 15-minute city is something that we've been talking a lot about on the pod lately with different developers and city managers and that kind of thing. And like, for some reason, like you mentioned, like a European style living where you can live there, work there, play there, all kind of within a mile of each other, which is, I think, great. And the more we poll our clients and the more we poll our audience, they say they want more of that. They don't want to spend an hour a day in traffic both ways just to get to work or to, wherever they're at. And so right now, I think, what you guys are doing, there's really nothing on the west side like this. And so like you have a bit of this going on in Lake Nona. I know the USTA has some of the red clay courts and some of that kind of thing, but like it's pretty far away for most people unless you live on the east side. And so I think, Clermont's always been known for like where Olympians train, and like it's just kind of like you're leaning into that in a big way. Not just from a celebrity endorsement kind of situation, but something that people can actually tap into on a daily basis, which is exciting.
No, totally. And I think that for the parents who participate in youth sports, right? Whether it's, one kid in volleyball, one kid in basketball, one kid baseball, whatever it is, yeah. Right? To be able to go to one place is huge. And then from a parent's perspective, to be able to go to one place and then get a cup of coffee and chill at a nice place while your kids are playing. Yep. It's big for a few reasons. I mean, number one, safety, right? I mean, you're in the gates, so to speak, and there's not too much worry there. And then number two, I mean, convenience, time. If that 15-minute city idea is it's funny. I think Walt Disney was a little ahead of its time. That was like the whole purpose of Epcot, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we get to like, literally. Yeah, you just, we're building
he built the blueprint for us. It's just down the road.
We just have to follow it, and complete it like the way that Disney has not, unfortunately. But I think this is great. And so talk about, so for one, again, we talk a lot of developers, they have these big dreams, and the fact that you guys have the $22 million for infrastructure and you're moving forward on some of the stuff, are you backing all of this, or is there other folks? I know that I had heard for is it the ice rink, the guy from Tampa Bay Lightning is maybe just partnering with you, and is it a lot of people together, or is it just your company?
Yeah, no, I mean, the financial mechanisms are above my pay grade, but certainly intricate, and certainly doesn't really just come from one source. Yeah. It's various layers of different ways to cobble together these types of projects. I think it'd be extremely rare if one person was coming in and just saying, all right, let me sign the dotted line. Where's here's my checkbook sort of thing. Yeah. It's certainly layered in many different ways. But I think that's all, all development goes through that, and they have to understand how to piece together the financing. And that's a huge, I'll be honest about it, that's a huge hurdle that a lot of developers face. It's one thing to have an idea. And I don't mean this to toot our horn in any type of way. That's certainly not how we are, but it's another thing to hey, we're moving dirt out there.
Well, that's what I want you to do. That's why, honestly, because
Yeah.
I do. I mean, like, listen, I'm a bit of a data nerd. I spend my evenings and weekends going through permitting data. Like, that's just, I'm sure you've got other cool things to do. That's what I like to do. And so I go and I look at, stuff that's proposed and stuff that gets approved. And sometimes it's $1 billion campuses. It's crazy stuff. Crazy. And then it just nothing ever happens. Right. And so that's why I wanted to have you on the pod to kind of dive in. And so I was excited when you were like, no, actually we're moving dirt. We got stuff allocated and here's the vision and we're executing on it. Cause that's execution's where it's at.
No, I appreciate saying that. And it's so true. I mean, dude, it's easy to write a press release and say you're going to do something.
Correct.
I mean, anybody will pick that. If I say I'm going to build $1 billion thing, oh, cool. I'll cover it.
Yeah. Let me write a check.
You know what I mean? It's like, and I don't say that from a like any sort of cocky ivory tower. It is true. I mean, I'm located in Vegas, and apparently the A's are coming to town, and they propose some sick looking stadium that's hundreds. I'm sure you've seen this.
Oh yeah,
hundreds of millions of dollars. And me, as now in this role as a developer, I'm scratching my head at that thing, and I hope they do it. Yeah. I hope they do it. But I'm going, wow, that's a ton of money, and that's. No one's stroking that check.
No, well, the city probably is going to do a little bit of it, I'm sure. But like, I noticed on the renderings for the A's, like the whole side was open. I'm like, it's Vegas. It's going to be 120 degrees. How is that going to be open in the summer?
Yeah, it doesn't get cool out here in the summer.
Like literally never.
I think the other thing too that's crazy is because a lot of people think that it's just one person, like they got it. They're gonna just do it. And when you look at projects that are, 10, 20, 30 million, in the multiple $1 million.
Yeah.
You're talking about now an individual, someone who's willing to part ways with $10 million. They've got to be worth hundreds of millions of dollars.
Sure.
Right. I mean, no one who's worth $15 million is parting ways with $10 million.
Right.
It's just not happening.
Yeah.
So when you start to think about, just be sensible about it. It's like, okay, well, the scale that they said it's going to be $150 million or whatever it costs. Right. That's like, you're talking, you need a billionaire, like a big billionaire to come in and just, if it's going to be one person,
sure,
to come in and stroke that check.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, it has to come from multiple, to answer the question. It's got to come from, multiple sources. And that can be challenging because, everybody wants a slice of the pie. Fair enough. But our job really as the master developer is to kind of sift through that and understand, okay, what's best for this vision and for this project and ultimately for the residents, right?
Yeah, that's a big part of it. It's just like, because honestly, it is the whole, if you build it, they'll come kind of thing. But like, you guys are putting out a lot of money, time, and effort, and you're selling kind of the dream, and you need the residents to be excited about it. And I think so far, everybody's really stoked. So you're in Vegas. I used to go to Clermont. I still go to Clermont all the time, but like, I remember going to Clermont up and down 27, and there was just nothing, right? You had like Lake Louise over there at 27. They widened it, and then I'm like, there's nothing here. So you guys had some force. Like, what made you choose Clermont?
So it's funny you say that. Orlando in general. I mean, I grew up in Orlando. Obviously, went to high school there, and when I was 13 years old, a long time ago. It's a long time ago. I wish it wasn't that long ago. I mean, I was in Lake Mary, and I could get to Disney in like a half hour.
Right.
Like, it was like, okay, we're just going to beat down I-4 and you're there.
Sure.
There was traffic at like 8:30 in the morning and traffic at like 4:30 in the afternoon. That was kind of it. It progressively got crazy. And I think I really realized it when I was in college, because I went to University of Connecticut, and I'd come home from school, and it was like, what is going on? It's like everyone's coming here. And slowly, Lake Mary was kind of like, I don't want to say the edge of town, but it was really like the edge of Orlando. Right. And then it's like, oh, now people live in Sanford and now people live in Deltona. Now people live in DeLand, and now people are just, and then south, it did sort of the same thing. I mean, Polk County has like the most people moving in of any county in like the whole United States.
Yeah. Yeah. It's crazy. Like 30,000 people relocated to Polk County, which is not something that I would have ever thought I would say, 5 years ago.
One of my best friends just moved down there maybe what, year and a half ago, 2 years ago, something like that. And they love it. They got a huge house, and
It's like
great
affordable.
deal.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and it's affordable. I mean,
Yep.
they're I mean, they're not house poor.
Yep.
And they love it. But it's interesting to see kind of Orlando, but Clermont specifically. That was all my dad. I mean, my dad. We're a family shop, by the way.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't know that about Olympus, but it's myself, my dad, and my brother. And my dad was like, "Hey, this is gonna be the spot." So he was very careful when selecting that particular, piece of property, and seems like he got it right.
I'd say so.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd say so. I mean,
Um,
yeah, you look at like, how Horizon West, even when I moved here 9 years ago, Horizon West was what Clermont is kind of today. And it was kind of like, oh, I mean, that's kind of far, but I could see the potential. And then all of a sudden today, it's like the fastest growing zip code in the country for a while, or top 5 anyways. And I could see Clermont very easily being the next thing, because it's right. It's still close proximity, especially when those roads open up. It's going to go gangbusters. So I think Dad definitely hit it on the nail.
that
On the nail there.
no, thanks. I mean, that expressway is going to be huge. Schofield Road now, and advantageous for us. I mean, we are essentially Schofield Road, right? I mean, that's runs right into us. So that's, I think my dad certainly had a lot of input with the city and the county and Wellness Way, and Olympus being really the spearhead for that. And, making sure that we drove traffic, to Olympus, to Wellness Way, but of course to Olympus, because we knew we wanted to deliver these venues, this town center, this sort of community that everyone, I think, thinks is a good idea, but it just hasn't really been executed in the way that we've been trying to execute it.
Yeah, that makes sense, man. Well, all roads, it seems, though, would lead to Olympus Project, which is really exciting. So let's back it up. So you said you're a family shop. Tell us a little bit about yourself. Where'd you come from? How'd you get to where you are today?
Yeah, no, from Orlando, obviously, originally, and went to high school in Lake Mary, and then went to college up in Connecticut, and then in another life, a previous life, I was a professional golfer.
Nice.
So I played for about, it was fun, a lot of work, but it was fun. I played for about better part of 8-9 years. Started out playing in Latin America, then played over in Europe, played a bunch in Asia, South Africa, really all over the world. Very fortunate to have had golf, take me to places I would have never otherwise dreamed of going.
Oh, sure.
And then to be able to compete, obviously, was pretty cool too. And then really 2022, I would say, I was like, hey, what's happening with Olympus? Like, can I get involved? And of course, my dad was like, yeah, this is going down. So I, took this role as being kind of the sports guy for Olympus. Obviously, my background lent itself easy to that. And had, golf is so unique because you play pro-ams and you play with people who are, everyone loves golf.
Yeah.
And so I had some great connects through playing golf. Was able to really, help Olympus with cobbling together what is now the vision for the sports campus. And then SOMA came about because we knew people needed a place to train. And I had, again, been fortunate and been around the world and seen some amazing places where you could train. And it wasn't just athletes. And in the US especially, we have this idea of like, hey, elite athlete performance, elite athlete training. And in a lot of the rest of the world, and what I know to be true, you can't get to that level of elite athlete training without having high level human performance training, right? And there's a difference. So human performance is understanding what does Ken Posick's day look like? Where are you throughout each hour of your day, maybe from a heart rate standpoint, maybe from an activity standpoint, from an eating standpoint? When do you have time to do stuff? When, questions and questions and questions, and taking blood work and understanding your profile. But if you're, going to SOMA, you're a user, you you check in, and we're going to take you through an intake. We're going to, draw blood. We're going to have you meet with every department head, from strength and conditioning, nutrition, cognitive trainings, like your mental approach, sports medicine, all these different facets, so that we understand, hey, what's the best for you? What is it all about you, right? And how can we tailor a program, for you? And I think that we have a lot of, speaking about fitness, we have a lot of trends and we have a lot of fads. And it's not that they're bad, right? I mean, I think it's great. Someone goes to, a gym that runs a 45-minute class. That's awesome. I tend to have a little bit of a disconnect when it's like, all right, well, you're going with someone who is completely different, like 40 other people that are completely different than you, and you're doing the same thing. Is that totally optimizing?
Probably not. I mean, you're all different ages, different sizes, different goals, all of that kind of stuff. So that makes a lot of sense. So it's a little bit of human performance preventative. Are you also going to have kind of the rehabilitative medical side? So should somebody need to go kind of the other way, more with like traditional medicine?
Yeah, totally. And no, and it's not to say, and right. So it is more preventative, holistic, in that regard. But we certainly don't reject modern medicine. It's absolutely, we look to have partnerships with orthopedic offices, and have the ability. That's part of it too. As being a member of SOMA, having the access to get in and see a doctor.
Yeah.
It's the way I look at it is it's true healthcare. And I think that here, especially, the healthcare is more sick care.
Yeah.
It's sick care, right? I mean, it's like, let's just be honest about it. It's they want you to be sick. They want you to come in, and they want you to, be prescribed something and leave.
Sure.
And maybe come back in a few days. You know what I mean? And that's why a lot of these, you see these big conglomerates out there. They don't build performance institutes. They don't build these types of facilities because the money's not for them there, right?
Sure.
They make more money if you rip your ACL into shreds and they have to repair it.
That makes sense.
So, you know what I mean?
It'd be nicer if it just didn't happen in the first place. Yeah.
Right. So it's and when you look, it's so funny to me because when I spent a lot of time in the Middle East. Stay at long stays in Dubai and Bahrain, and these places where that's how they think of healthcare. This is very normal for them. They're like, oh yeah, we go there and we work out and we see a nutritionist and we talk to somebody, and here it's like you have to go to 12 different places to get that, right? Yeah. I mean, you might do. People always prioritize strength and conditioning because you look good, right?
Right.
Or at least they think you're going to look good. And they do these. They pay for strength and conditioning, number one, and then as an afterthought, they might get a meal plan from somebody, but it's not tailored to them. It's just like
canned.
Don't eat a carb.
Yeah, right.
Tons of protein. Grill a steak, grilled chicken, and no carb. Or it's just not even correct.
Sure.
And then when they get sore, inevitably they go get a massage. So that's kind of like the cycle of the average guy's, or gal's fitness routine here. And we want to buck that trend. That's not what we want.
So that could sound expensive to people, right? I think Clermont's definitely, it started as a very blue collar area. I think it's starting to turn a lot different. And obviously you're going to have a lot of jobs and some other things on site at Olympus and around Wellness Way and everything that's kind of coming to that area. But talk to us about accessible care, because I think that this is going to be your target audience is going to, is this something that they need to be a millionaire? Is this something that is going to be accessible for the average guy? Talk to us about that.
Absolutely. I love that question too, because it's something that was the sort of in the background running the whole time while, I was developing SOMA. It's okay. Well, how's this going to be affordable? And the short answer is it's very affordable. And I say that, by looking at, what people pay to go to gyms and what people pay to, go see a massage therapist. And when you start cobbling together, hey, this person's paying $49 for their gym membership that, includes classes and all that stuff. And they're paying, for one massage, they're paying $150 for that massage, and that's $300 a month. We plan to offer daily strength and conditioning, daily recovery, all the cold tubs and saunas and whatever's for you that you want. And then at least twice a month getting in and seeing a sports medicine, whether it's an osteopath, chiropractic treatment, dry needling, cupping, whatever it might be, whatever modality works, at least twice a month getting to see them, making that membership cheaper than just what I had just mentioned.
Wow, that's huge.
So that's a big part of it, and that's a big, it's what it should be.
Yeah, I mean, and think if
it's
you're
what it should be.
And I think if you're specializing in that and you're offering these it's going to be something that's going to attract more people to the area. And I think, I look at what Clermont's going to be and Wellness Way is going to be 5-10 years from now. If it's a hub for this, that's really exciting.
I appreciate you saying that. That's the whole impetus for everything. I mean, it's obviously it's a personal, I'm very into it myself, but the amazing team that I've put around me with Soma, who I can't wait to announce in the coming weeks, kind of who that is.
Yeah. So, all right. So we're talking a year for infrastructure. I'm not put a date on it, but if you started thinking, when Soma's opening, when some of these bigger pieces to the puzzle are opening, what's the goal? What are you looking at in terms of time frame?
So Soma's in phase 3 of the infrastructure, which is ongoing right now. And we're looking at a completion time of the infrastructure about 18 months.
Okay.
I've been told to, be ready with Soma by the end of this calendar year. And what that means is literally just that, be ready to go. So, I mean, we're moving dirt, it's, I don't want to put a date on it yet because it's not fair.
Yeah.
You hear something takes 12 months, it might take 14. Well, then, it might take 14.
Yeah.
But, everything that we're told right now is infrastructure for what's going on in phase 2 is 12 months, vertical immediately following. And then phase 3 is like 18 months. And that's the town center and the sports campus, and vertical immediately following. So it's coming, and it'll be here, the old adage, it'll be here before you know it.
Yeah.
It's true.
So within 2-3 years, we'll see like an actual, hey, this is starting to really take shape. And all that promise is actually going to come to fruition, which is really exciting. I mean, I think, again, there's only a few local things that people listening might really know, but like a Horizon West was an interesting thing because they started building there in early 2000s, and we're just now getting Pop Stroke by Tiger Woods and all these restaurants. And unfortunately, it's mostly like dentists and freaking banks. I don't know why that's always they go together. But that took 20 years to happen. And
it's hard. Development's hard. I mean, I won't sugarcoat it.
Yeah.
I think that I go back to the example I gave before, right? If it was one person, great. It's super easy. You just have to have one guy or girl okay it and be on board with it.
Yeah.
But more often than not, it's you need 21 people to be, on board with it.
Yeah.
And when you start to break that pie up, everyone needs to play well in the sandbox, and that doesn't happen all the time.
Yeah.
But we've been, for the most part with Olympus, we've been really fortunate with who we have around the project. I mean, we've got great support from folks like yourself, from the city, from the county, from the state. And we've got some local individuals who are very influential in development around town who love the project.
So good.
It's nice to see, to see development, going on around you. That's how it's happening, right? Mm-hmm. When you make an announcement and then people flock and they're building and they're building homes and they're that's the proof right there.
Yeah, no, I agree. And you said
roads are being built.
You said you want to make this kind of a prototype too, right? So if it works well in Clermont, we want to take this to other cities and kind of see how that goes.
Definitely. I mean, Olympus is really it's a brand more than it is just a community with that's located in Clermont. It's a sports and entertainment brand. I think Soma is certainly the driver for that. You know, we can take a human performance institute and put it in a population center and drive business toward it. And you know, if we were to go, let's say, to Vancouver, it might be more ski and snowboard intensive or hockey intensive, whatever it might be. But certainly letting the area dictate, you know, kind of the detail, but having Soma as that overall performance institute brand that we know can, you know, can do quite well.
Well, dude, I'm excited. How can people keeping track of what's going on out there? I mean, we're going to be out doing updates. I think we're going to start meet you guys out there, do some drone updates, and show people some of the development. But how can they best get a hold of you guys if they want to track what's going on?
No, totally. So we keep updating the website. Specifically for Soma, we're going to have a pretty significant launch here in the coming weeks.
Okay.
Really, you know, showing the world what that brand is going to be, and certainly some, you know, some stuff for local residents too, as that is going to be the first location. So looking forward to kind of getting that together in the coming weeks and months here. You know, as we look toward build out. But yeah, I mean, we will keep putting press releases out there and doing stuff like this. I mean, this is you know, the best way for people to stay in the know.
Thanks, man. We're trying to keep people.
We're a pretty transparent group. You know, I mean, we you know, that's kind of what we pride ourselves on. So
love it, man. Matt Carroll, thanks for hanging out.
Thanks, Ken. I appreciate you having me.